The busy legislative session coming to an end earlier today, so we decided to check in with our State House insiders, Republican strategist Dave Wilson and Democratic strategist Antoine C. Wright. We're getting their take on accomplishments and also next steps for lawmakers.
Well, I think we have a form of people having the freedom to express themselves, if you will, by way of the South Carolina Education Lottery. I think that has worked well in our state. It was supposed to be used to enhance and benefit public education. There was legislation passed this session, I think, that would send money to private schools. That's nor here nor there. That's another fight for another day. But I think the freedom for the people of Orangeburg County and surrounding areas, including the state of South Carolina, to be able to have the opportunity to do what they can do in North Carolina and other places is the real conversation that I think lawmakers should be having. South Carolina wins if we come together and allow people to do what they want to do, the freedom to be able to express themselves.
That's absolutely right. One of the things you have to think about in this particular case is the fact that you have some areas of the state that may not want this, but the reality is the Orangeburg area actually does. You're seeing a divide among certain people because 90% of South Carolinians agree having the freedom to choose whether or not you want to be able to go to a casino or not go to a casino is very wide open right there. 90% of South Carolinians agree. And as a matter of fact, 69 to 70% of them are turning around and saying, we need to have one in South Carolina. It's a moneymaker for the state, bringing in somewhere an estimates between $75 to $100 million a year in revenue for the state. That's going to be really important as we go into the next few years, especially.
And education is always a top topic. And Dave, you talked about Republicans staying focused on the school voucher bill. So I'm so curious, what are the next steps?
Well, the governor signed that bill already now, Eric, and I think the biggest thing we have to look at now is how quickly it's going to end up in the state Supreme Court, because the last two times the state of South Carolina did this, it ended up in the Supreme Court, and they turned around and shut it down. So the question is, have there been enough changes based upon what the Supreme Court has done previously to then turn around and make it something that is constitutional in the state of South Carolina?
I think it's comical to watch my Republican friends who are anti the casino in Orangeburg, anti the lottery, yet want to turn around and use lottery dollars to benefit private schools, and we're in a state of South Carolina where minimally adequate is the standard when it comes to public education in our state. If you care about enhancing and growing education in our state, put those monies into public education where the majority of our students can benefit and where they serve. When you think about rural, urban, and suburban South Carolina, you look at access to schools and who can afford to participate. It's not the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected, those who tend to go to private schools, but it's working-class families like the ones I grew up in, like the ones in rural South Carolina, like the ones all across our state that are hungry and thirsty for strengthening public education. And I hope it ends up in the court, and I hope ultimately the court decide on the right side of history on this issue.
Okay, I want to ask both of you, as we wrap up, give me one word to describe this session.
Lackluster. There was nothing done in the session, period.
I would say mostly chaotic, and that would be simply because you've got so many new members right now, and they just seem to not get much of anything seriously accomplished except a few important items like liquor liability, insurance reform, and energy. But beyond that, it's been a lot of tepid movement across the entire state legislature for the last several weeks.
And what Dave would not tell you, Erica, is that the Republicans are in charge of the House, the Senate, and every state constitutional officer. So for the lack of progress that has happened in the general, it's his party that's in charge.
But Antoine, the thing about it is we have to figure out how to turn around and actually get things passed. And the reality is, yes, it is a Republican-dominated legislature. And if something, a finger has to be pointed somewhere, you're going to have to ask leadership why they did or didn't get certain things done.